This message is not for everyone. It is for those who feel a divine calling, a deeper connection to a higher purpose, and a sense of alignment with God's will. If your heart is attuned to the spiritual path, if you have felt the pull of heaven guiding you through your life, then this message is for you. It speaks directly to those who have walked the path of refinement, been tested, and have emerged stronger, marked by God's hand in a way that others may not understand. You are the chosen one. The journey of the chosen one is unlike any other. It is a path of transformation, a calling that sets you apart, not for recognition from the world, but for a divine purpose that transcends earthly understanding. While the world often seeks outward success, fame, and approval, those walking the divine path know that their worth is not defined by human standards. It is defined by their alignment with the divine, their obedience to God's will, and the spiritual authority that has been placed upon them. This authority isn't always visible to the naked eye, but it manifests in ways that can be felt deeply. For the chosen ones, there is a quiet but undeniable shift that occurs in the spiritual realm. It's a shift that many may not notice at first, but once you become aware of it, you cannot ignore it. You begin to see the world differently. Your perception is heightened. Your sight goes beyond what is visible, revealing truths beneath the surface. The eyes are no longer just instruments of sight, they are windows into a deeper spiritual reality. Your gaze carries weight. It reflects the authority that has been sealed upon you by God. In the past, darkness could meet your eyes with confidence, sensing your fear, your doubt, and your hesitation. But that time has passed. Something has shifted within you. You have been refined through trials, strengthened in solitude, and anchored in faith. Now, your gaze is no longer one of uncertainty but one of power and authority. Darkness can no longer look you in the eye. It has retreated, for it knows that your eyes now carry a spiritual weight it cannot withstand. This message is not about boasting in strength but acknowledging a profound truth, the truth that when you align with God's will, you are marked by a divine authority that even the enemy recognizes. You no longer need to seek validation from the world, for your validation comes from a higher source. And once your spiritual authority is sealed, you step into a new realm of influence, an influence that is felt deeply, even without words. The world may not always see you, but heaven does. You are recognized, not by outward appearances, but by the divine seal upon your life. And this is just the beginning of your journey. The moment a person is marked by God, everything shifts. It's not an external change that is immediately visible to those around you, it's a deep, spiritual transformation that happens within. For the chosen ones, this mark is not something that can be removed or ignored. It is an imprint of divine authority, something that changes not just the course of your life but the very essence of who you are. This transformation begins with alignment, when your heart, mind, and spirit fully submit to God's will, a deep shift occurs. You no longer walk the same path as others. You are set apart, refined by the fires of testing and the trials of life, preparing you for a divine assignment that only you are meant to fulfill. At this moment of spiritual marking, your very identity is changed. It is not something you asked for, nor is it something you can force. It is a divine calling, a gift from God. When you are chosen, you are given eyes to see beyond what others can perceive. Your eyes, which were once simple instruments of sight, now carry a deeper meaning. In the spiritual realm, eyes are much more than a way to perceive the world around you. They are the windows through which your authority and alignment with God are reflected. Your gaze is no longer ordinary. It carries with it a spiritual rank, a reflection of the divine authority you now walk in. This shift in spiritual alignment marks a profound transformation. Where once darkness could find leverage in your doubt, fear, and uncertainty, it can no longer maintain that hold. Darkness used to study your every move, watching how you reacted to challenges, how you flinched in the face of adversity, and how you hesitated in moments of uncertainty. But now, your eyes reveal something different. They reflect a spiritual authority that darkness cannot touch. They no longer seek validation, nor do they flinch at fear or uncertainty. Your gaze stands firm, unyielding, and unapologetic in its authority. This transformation is not just about strength, it's about divine presence. The moment you align fully with God's will, your spiritual rank is sealed. And with that, your gaze becomes a witness to truth and authority. What you look at now carries weight in the spiritual realm. No longer do you need to scan your surroundings for approval or permission. Your presence alone declares your position in the spiritual hierarchy. Darkness can no longer meet your gaze with the same confidence. It recognizes that you no longer carry uncertainty or fear in your spirit. Your eyes now carry the weight of divine truth, something that darkness cannot bear to face. In this new reality, you are no longer subject to the whims of the enemy. You have been transformed into someone who walks with divine authority. When you look into the eyes of the world, you are not just seeing what is in front of you, you are discerning the truth beneath the surface, the motives and intentions of those you encounter. This new sight creates a discomfort in those who walk in darkness, for they can no longer hide behind masks of deception. They cannot manipulate or control your perception because your gaze pierces through the facade, exposing what lies beneath. And this is where true spiritual authority begins, when your eyes no longer ask questions, but instead declare truths that others are not ready to confront. As the chosen ones grow in their divine alignment, they begin to experience a level of spiritual clarity and discernment that transcends ordinary understanding. What was once hidden beneath the surface now becomes visible. The veil is lifted, and the chosen ones can see the true nature of things. Their spiritual sight is no longer clouded by uncertainty or external distractions, but rather, it is sharpened by the clarity of divine truth. They no longer perceive the world the way others do. Their perspective is elevated, and what once appeared as mere behavior now reveals deeper intentions, motives, and spiritual realities. This transformation in perception is one of the most profound shifts that a chosen one can experience. In the past, your eyes may have been filled with doubt, searching for answers, approval, or confirmation. You may have hesitated, questioning your place in the world, seeking validation from those around you. But now, your gaze is rooted in divine authority. It no longer seeks approval, nor does it react to the noise around it. Your eyes are not just instruments of sight, they are instruments of discernment, reflecting the truth that only those who are aligned with God's will can see. As your discernment grows, so does your ability to perceive the intentions behind the words and actions of others. You no longer just see what people do or hear what they say, you see the deeper currents that drive them. You begin to discern hidden motives, secret desires, and spiritual alignments that are invisible to the untrained eye. This newfound clarity can be both a blessing and a challenge. It can be a blessing because it allows you to navigate through life with greater wisdom, making decisions that are aligned with divine will. You no longer have to guess the true intentions of those around you. You can see clearly where they stand, even if they try to hide it. But this clarity can also be uncomfortable for those who are still living in darkness. When you see beyond the surface, you expose what others are trying to keep hidden. Your gaze becomes a mirror, reflecting not only their actions but their true spiritual condition. And for many, this exposure is unsettling. People who once seemed confident in their interactions with you may now become uneasy when they encounter your gaze. This is not because you have become cold or unapproachable, it is because your spiritual sight has become a mirror that forces them to confront truths they may not be ready to face. In the past, you may have found yourself reacting to situations, justifying your actions, or defending your position. But now, you stand in stillness. Your gaze alone speaks volumes, and it answers questions that people haven't even asked. There is a peace in your eyes, a calm that does not rush, a certainty that does not waver. This stillness is not weakness, it is strength. It is the strength of someone who knows their position in God's will, who does not need to scramble for validation or approval, but stands firm in the truth. As this spiritual clarity deepens, so does your ability to navigate the world with wisdom. You no longer walk in confusion, reacting to the chaos around you. Instead, you move through life with purpose and direction. Your discernment allows you to avoid the traps that once ensnared you, and your vision helps you stay aligned with your divine calling. This is the power of spiritual clarity. It frees you from the noise of the world and allows you to see things as they truly are. And as you continue to walk in this clarity, you begin to realize something profound. Your eyes no longer just reflect your own understanding of the world. They now reflect the divine authority that has been placed upon you. Your gaze carries the weight of spiritual truth, and with it, the power to discern and expose what is hidden. This is the gift of spiritual clarity, a gift that allows you to see beyond the visible and into the very heart of things, revealing the deeper truths that others cannot yet perceive. As the chosen one steps deeper into their divine purpose and spiritual authority, a significant shift occurs in the nature of spiritual warfare. What was once a battle filled with direct confrontation and overt attacks now begins to take on a more subtle form. Early in the journey, the enemy might have engaged you aggressively, launching attack after attack, stirring up confusion, fear, and doubt in your spirit. The enemy tested your weaknesses, exploited your vulnerabilities, and tried to manipulate you through emotional turmoil and uncertainty. But as you have grown, refined by the trials and strengthened by your alignment with God's will, the nature of this warfare has changed. The spiritual realm recognizes the shift in you. As your spiritual authority has been sealed, the enemy no longer approaches you in the same way. Where there was once confrontation, there is now avoidance. Darkness no longer dares to meet your gaze with the same boldness. It knows that your authority is backed by heaven itself, and any attempt to challenge you directly would be futile. Instead of approaching you with force and noise, the enemy now seeks to retreat, to avoid your presence altogether. This shift is not a sign that the battle is over, it is a sign that the enemy has recognized your spiritual strength and authority. The enemy understands that it no longer has access to you in the same way it once did. Your alignment with God's will has sealed your identity, and your unwavering confidence in that identity makes you a formidable force in the spiritual realm. The enemy cannot manipulate you or control your emotions as it once did. You are no longer vulnerable to his attacks because your foundation is now built on divine truth, not on the shifting sands of fear, doubt, or insecurity. At first, this avoidance may seem like a victory, and in many ways, it is. However, the enemy is patient and subtle. He may not engage you directly, but that does not mean he has given up on trying to undermine you. Instead of attacking you head-on, he will try to stir up division, confusion, and distractions in your environment. He will use people, situations, and even your own emotions to create doubt, insecurity, or fear. These are the subtle forms of spiritual warfare that the chosen ones must now learn to navigate. When the enemy cannot attack you directly, he will attempt to provoke others around you, stirring up conflict and strife. He may cause misunderstandings in relationships, incite jealousy, or sow seeds of division where there was once unity. However, this is where the power of your silence becomes paramount. You no longer need to engage in every battle that the enemy tries to create. Your silence, rooted in divine authority, speaks louder than any confrontation. You are no longer moved by the noise around you or the provocations the enemy sends your way. When you remain anchored in your identity and divine purpose, you disarm the enemy of his tactics. The enemy thrives on reaction. He wants you to be provoked, to react out of fear, anger, or frustration. But when you stand firm in your faith, unmoved by external distractions, you deny the enemy the power to stir up chaos within you. This is the true power of spiritual authority, not the ability to engage in constant battle, but the ability to stand still in the face of opposition, knowing that the victory has already been won. The avoidance of the enemy is a sign of your spiritual elevation, but it also requires discernment. The enemy will try to distract you from your path, to divert your focus from your divine purpose. He may not come at you with force, but he will try to sidetrack you through subtle temptations, distractions, or emotional triggers. But as the chosen one, you have been equipped to recognize these attacks. Your clarity and discernment will help you stay focused on what truly matters, fulfilling your divine calling and remaining aligned with God's will. In the face of this spiritual warfare, the chosen ones are not called to engage in every battle or respond to every challenge. Instead, they are called to stand firm in the truth, to remain anchored in their identity, and to allow God's authority to fight on their behalf. The enemy may retreat, but he will continue to test the boundaries you've set. It is up to you to stay vigilant, to guard your heart and mind, and to continue walking in the peace and power that come from being aligned with the divine. When darkness can no longer meet your gaze, it is because your spiritual authority has become unshakable. You are no longer the same person who once flinched at the enemy's tactics. You are now walking in a new level of power, silent, steady, and unyielding in your faith. The enemy may avoid you, but it is not because he has forgotten you, it is because he knows he has lost. As the chosen one walks deeper into their spiritual journey, they come to understand the true meaning of victory and authority. This is not a victory won by earthly battles or through human effort, but a victory that is sealed in the spiritual realm by God Himself. The chosen ones are marked by divine authority, a mark that is not earned through external achievements but through their obedience, endurance, and unwavering alignment with God's will. This authority cannot be seen or understood by the world, but it is undeniable in the spiritual realm. The enemy recognizes it, and so does heaven. The moment your spiritual authority is sealed, something profound happens within you. It's not an external change, but a deep, internal transformation. Your identity, your purpose, and your connection to God become unshakable. There was a time when you might have questioned your calling, wondered if you were truly worthy, or sought validation from those around you. But as your authority was sealed, you moved beyond those doubts. You no longer seek external confirmation of your worth. You stand firm in the truth that you are chosen, that you are aligned with God's will, and that your identity is secure in His hands. This shift in your understanding of self and your place in the world is marked by a quiet yet powerful confidence. It's a confidence that does not rely on the applause or approval of others. Your validation comes from God alone. It is through obedience, even in the face of hardship, that your authority is established. When you endured suffering without allowing bitterness to take root, when you chose faith over fear, when you resisted the temptation to compromise your integrity, you were being refined. Each act of obedience, each choice to align with God's will, was building the foundation for the authority you now walk in. Once your authority is sealed, there is no room for uncertainty. You know who you are, and you know whose you are. The enemy cannot touch this. It can no longer exploit your weaknesses or manipulate your emotions. It knows that your identity is no longer in question. You are no longer susceptible to fear, doubt, or insecurity. Your spiritual foundation is firm, and that firmness becomes a powerful weapon. The enemy may try to attack you in other ways, but it will find no cracks in your foundation. The authority you now carry is unshakable. What the enemy once saw as an opening to manipulate or control you now becomes a sealed door that cannot be opened. There is a spiritual weight in your presence that darkness cannot bear to confront. Your authority does not come from your own strength or power, but from the divine seal that God has placed upon you. It is the authority of heaven itself that you carry, and the enemy recognizes it. It knows that it cannot stand in the face of someone who has been fully aligned with God's will, someone who is standing firm in their divine purpose. This authority is not about domination or control over others, it is about responsibility. As the chosen one, you are entrusted with a greater purpose. You are not simply walking for yourself, you are walking as a light to guide others, to bring others to the truth. This responsibility requires humility, discernment, and unwavering faith. It requires the ability to lead by example, to reflect the divine authority you carry in every word, action, and decision. The mark of victory and authority is not about personal elevation. It is about alignment with God's plan and walking in that purpose with clarity and confidence. The enemy will no longer approach you with the same tactics of manipulation or intimidation because it recognizes that you have been sealed with a divine authority that it cannot challenge. What was once a battle for your soul is now a quiet victory that speaks volumes without a word being spoken. This divine authority is a gift from God, but it also comes with a weight of responsibility. You are not simply called to walk in victory, you are called to lead others into that same victory. As you continue to walk in your divine purpose, remember that this authority is not for self-exaltation but for the glory of God. It is His power at work within you, and that power cannot be used recklessly or for selfish gain. It is a gift to be stewarded with humility, wisdom, and grace. The mark of victory and authority in your life is a testament to your journey, one of obedience, endurance, and faith. And as you continue to walk in this authority, you will see how your very presence brings change to the atmosphere, how the power of God within you transforms the world around you. Darkness no longer has dominion over you. You stand in the fullness of your divine calling, and nothing can take that away. As the chosen one steps into a new level of spiritual authority, they begin to notice shifts not only within themselves but also in their relationships with others. These changes are inevitable. The deeper you walk into your divine calling, the more the spiritual atmosphere around you transforms. Relationships that once felt comfortable, familiar, and easy may begin to feel strained or distant. The reason for this is not a reflection of personal failure or fault, but a natural byproduct of your spiritual elevation. When you align fully with God's will and purpose, your spiritual energy and frequency shift. People who are not spiritually aligned with you may begin to feel uncomfortable in your presence. They may not be able to explain why, but they will sense the change. What they once found approachable or familiar now feels distant or even unsettling. This shift is not necessarily a sign of rejection or animosity, but rather a recognition of the divine authority and power you now carry. Your light illuminates what lies hidden in the darkness, and for those who are still in the darkness, this exposure can be uncomfortable. The chosen one may find that people who once sought their company, advice, or attention may now avoid them. Conversations that once flowed easily may feel awkward or strained. Old relationships that once brought comfort may begin to dissolve. This is a natural part of the process. As you grow in spiritual authority, you are no longer the same person who walked that path before. Your identity is sealed in God's will, and that causes a spiritual gap between you and those who have not undergone the same transformation. In some cases, this shift can feel isolating. Losing old connections and seeing people pull away can be painful, especially when those relationships seem to offer support and understanding in the past. However, the chosen one must remember that these changes are a sign of spiritual progress. As your spiritual clarity deepens, you begin to see who is truly meant to walk with you in this season of your life. Those who are aligned with God's will for your life will remain, while those who are not will naturally fall away. This does not diminish their worth or value, it simply means that your paths are no longer in alignment. This season of transformation also comes with increased spiritual responsibility. As your authority grows, so does the responsibility to lead others and reflect the truth you carry. You are not just walking in divine purpose for yourself, you are called to help others find their way to the same truth, to guide them as they navigate their own journeys. The authority you now carry is not just for your own benefit, it is a gift meant to be shared, to lead others out of darkness and into the light. With this responsibility comes the need for discernment. Not everyone is ready to walk beside you in this new level of spiritual maturity. Some people may resist your influence, either because they are not ready for the truth you carry, or because they are still trapped in their own spiritual limitations. It is important to understand that this is not about proving anything to anyone, it is about walking in your purpose with integrity and humility. This spiritual shift has marked you, not just for this season of your life, but for the entirety of your divine purpose. You have been sealed with authority that even the enemy recognizes, and this is a victory in itself. Darkness can no longer look you in the eye the way it once did because your gaze now carries the weight of divine truth and authority. The enemy no longer has access to your spirit in the same way, and the battles you face are no longer the loud, visible confrontations of the past. They have shifted into something quieter, more subtle, but no less impactful. This shift in warfare is a sign of the divine authority you carry. It is not a time to become complacent or to grow weary. It is a time to continue walking in obedience, knowing that the enemy may no longer confront you directly but will seek to distract or divide in other ways. The key to maintaining this authority is to remain anchored in your identity, to continue guarding your heart and mind, and to walk in the truth that has been revealed to you. As you do, your spiritual sight will become sharper, and you will be equipped to discern the enemy's tactics before they can take root in your life. As you continue to walk in this new authority, remember that your silence holds more power than the loudest noise the enemy can make. Your stillness, rooted in divine purpose, will become a weapon in itself. You no longer need to prove anything, for your authority speaks for you. Keep your gaze fixed on God, continue to walk in obedience, and trust that with each step, you are fulfilling the divine plan that has been set for you. You are the chosen one, and your authority is sealed. Walk in that truth with confidence, knowing that nothing can shake the foundation of divine purpose that has been established in your life.